Good afternoon, and to all of you, and thank you for watching from home, from work, regardless where you're based here in the UAE, in the GCC, or the rest of the world. Welcome to the Breakbulk Middle East Digital Edition special panel. Today, we will openly discuss about how to navigate the Middle East projects and business landscape in a post-COVID world. And in order to do so, it's an honor for me to introduce the panelists that are going to sail with us through this interesting topic. Mr. Mohammad Jaber, Chief Operating Officer and Regional Director of Project Logistics for the region of Middle East and Africa for Agility, and Breakbulk Middle East Program Advisory Board. Good afternoon, Mr. Mohammad.
Good afternoon.
Captain Mohammad Alali, Senior Vice President, Ship Management, ADNOC Logistics and Services, and Breakbulk Middle East Program Advisory Board. Good afternoon, Captain.
Good afternoon, Guillermo.
And last but not least, Mr. Khalid Marzooqi, Director Commercial, Khalifa Industrial Zone, Abu Dhabi. Good afternoon, Mr. Khalid.
Good afternoon.
My name is Guillermo Cobelo, and welcome once again to the Breakbulk Middle East Digital Edition special panel. All of us have been listening carefully to the previous presentation of Mr. Edward James, Director of Content and Analysis MED Projects, based not only on the market behavior during this last challenging year, but on the forecast estimations for the near future. All the people that is watching us will be really interested on hearing about the ground reality, the hands-on work. Therefore, it will be really fruitful to discuss about how your business has been impacted and the ways that you are taking lessons learned from 2020 to look ahead to new opportunities 2021. Of course, we cannot forget about risk mitigation and cost efficiency, and also a must-to-have points, digitalization, innovation, and sustainability. The spirit of this panel is to have an open debate about the different topics I have just mentioned. And in order to do so, I will be asking different questions to our panelists to cover all our agenda. Nevertheless, Mr. Mohammad, Captain Mohammad, and Mr. Khalid, please feel free to jump in when you consider appropriate. My first question is to you, Captain. Mohammad, while many of you argue whether COVID-19 is over, how do you see the short-term and long-term recovery post-COVID-19?
Thank you, Guillermo. Actually, the COVID-19, it's, as you said, it's not over. We're still going through the pandemic, and there has been a number of waves, and we have, been building experience of how to actually move forward. I believe, in the short term, we will be, trying to gear ourselves up into ramping up our projects and trying to catch up to whatever we have deferred from last year in terms of investments. As you can see, there has been a lot of investments. I wouldn't say all has been cancelled, but a lot of it was deferred, and deferred mainly due to the change of the demand in this. So this would be, I think, a priority to actually look into all these deferred investments and how we can actually face them in the way forward. Then the long term is actually to look into how the whole demand is going to shape in the way forward as well, and what sort of changes is actually happening to our industry. And again, that we have to revise our 5-year, 10-year strategic plans accordingly. And in terms of logistics segments, in ADNOC Logistics and Services, while we have been, investing, very thoughtful in a way that we are, building up our fleet, we are building up our logistic supply chain capability. Nevertheless, we have been, in fact, impacted by the pandemic, and mainly towards delivering our service to clients. And this is something that we are carefully looking into in the short term, how we are able to build up our capability to manage with our seafarers, and how they are, as you know, being stranded on the vessels, and how we are able to ensure the safety and sustainability of our fleet. That's, in a nutshell, my answer.
Many thanks, Captain. I mean, it's true. Still, we are being through some ups and downs during these days, where we have to use all the tools at our disposal in order to be more efficient. But it leads me to my next question, in this case to Mr. Mohammad Jaber, How agility benefited from the digitalization during COVID?
Thank you, Guillermo. Actually, the agility started the digitalization quite at early stage and before COVID, but the digitalization was an essential and important part of our business continuity plan since the pandemic started. The pandemic, unfortunately, has driven home all the urgency and the importance of working remotely and the importance of digitalized supply chain. Online platform gave us the ability to get a 360 degrees view and adjust instantly the variables in capacity, scheduling, pricing, and documentation. Agility has used the digital tools to keep trade flowing. Every day we work with our customers and to find shipping and means of shipping and warehousing capacity across the world, especially for BBEs, for projects cargo and food and beverage. Keeping customers informed and about the status of their cargo, the consolidation and customer clearance, warehousing across the world. The pandemic separated digital leaders from leaders. Leaders had tools and make data-driven decisions quickly because they had trusted business and trusted supply chain partners. Those could be freight forwarders or 3PL service providers, but sharing fresh information in near real time and hunting down available production and shipping capacities. It's obvious lesson learned from pandemic is that the digital capabilities and such as predictive modeling, big data, and digital capabilities will provide a lot of stability to the decisions and how the supply chain across the world, not whenever you look into it within a country, but for the entire door-to-door supply chain. Agility Ventures is one of our venture arms, which partnering with a lot of startups who are championing technologies that can build faster and more secure and more sustainable supply chain. And our platform launched big time with the digital platform Shiba Freight, and it helped a lot of people to perform their business from home, from their location as it's usual life day to day. So thanks to digitalization and Internet of Things that enable us to at least be stronger with the COVID situation during 2020, and it's growing in digitalization during 2021 as the pandemic yet to be normalized.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Mohammad. Definitely, digitalization it's playing, and it will play a major role, not only on our businesses, but even in our normal lives. So really appreciate it indeed, all these feedback that you are providing. Mr. Khalid, in this case, as Commercial Director from KIZAD, from your perspective, what are the main challenges and impacts from COVID-19 that is going on 2021?
First of all, we have to know that definitely the pandemic has changed everything around us, including, of course, the business environment. Now, some changes were positive, some unfortunately were negative. We saw sectors that are growing faster than before, and we saw others suffering. So those challenges generate, I will not say new trends, rather than actually enhance business trends where companies had to adapt to the changes. So we see nowadays more competitions in the supply chain management, supply chain channels. Especially when we speak about international companies, they had to search for the optimal way to reach to their customers. Today, e-commerce became, I believe, a mandatory approach to survive for some companies. I'll give a few examples now, like in KIZAD, for example, we see that the warehousing demand during the pandemic has been growing up. We were able to lease all out our inventory, which is equivalent to around 2 million square feet of warehousing to meet the demand. And today we are actually we are currently developing a 5 million square feet of warehouse solutions, including cold and cool storage. So this is all showing you now the importance of what we call local strategy, where the company has to make sure that they will be able to meet the demand in different countries in the world. Now, the international companies nowadays give more attention to the importance, for example, of using technology to reach to the customer. Also, as I mentioned, having a base close to their consumer market. Now, another challenge that we see here during the pandemic was actually the manufacturing companies on having an access to the raw material. Some companies start to focus more on integrations, the supply chain, in order to reduce the inventory loss, while many had to shrink the capacity. For us in KIZAD and in Abu Dhabi in general, we were fortunate that we already have created the approach of what we call cluster approach for different sectors, different industries. For example, in KIZAD, we have now metal clusters, food cluster, automotive clusters. So having the upstream and the downstream within one locations, and of course having the right connectivity, the needed connectivities through ports, with the seaports, airports, and other channels. So this are very important actually for the companies now to face the pandemic. I believe now that the breakbulk sectors post-COVID-19 will accelerate its digital transform via automations and intelligent technology.
Thank you, Mr. Khalid. So I just got key points: local strategy, flexible, dynamic, e-commerce, and a cluster approach. And thank you for sharing the challenges that you have seen from your position. So that leads me back to the captain. Despite 1 year passed since the pandemic started, there are no solutions to the concerns related to the stranded seafarers. How this will impact in the supply chain moving forward, Captain?
I think the issue about the seafarers is getting ever more serious because there's no solution in place. While there was, isolated initiatives from different governments, but there is no worldwide solution. This is, many people do not really feel the impact today because the seafarers continue to serve, continue to work hard, continue to sacrifice their well-being for the best of the economy of the world. Nevertheless, I think one day these seafarers will lose patience. And this is going to have a major impact on the whole world economy when vessels are being stopped and not actually delivering the goods to the countries. In UAE, we are very grateful. We have a very great leadership. We were very proactive, and we have opened the opportunity for seafarers to be changed over. So we have somehow relieved some of the pressure in this region. Nevertheless, we need a worldwide solution. From ADNOC Logistics and Services, we have signed the Neptune Declaration, which have been in the media recently, to actually announce our full commitment and support to the seafarers. And we have spared no efforts to support them, no matter whatever the cost is, because their well-being and safety comes first. So we hope that we will come to a resolution soon, and with the best efforts of all the governments. Otherwise, the economy of the world will be very much impacted if this is being overlooked or ignored.
Thank you very much, Captain, and thank ADNOC for the support to the seafarers. Indeed, appreciated. In addition to that, I would like to ask to Mr. Mohammad Jabber in this case, from your perspective, how COVID impacts the supply chain, sea and air?
Actually, as we reference to Meet Projects presentation, we've seen there is a big drop in the projects in the region, led by the biggest two economies here, Saudi Arabia and UAE, then followed by Oman, Kuwait. There is a big drop. So there is a big imbalance of the cargo moving across the world. Today, we see like thousands of dollars increasing on the containers rate due to the imbalance. and congestions, as well as blank sailings. The one of the 3 containers is rolled right now in Long Beach in the United States. If you look into our region, the premiums and surcharges are hitting so aggressive. Despite of that, there is a huge peak on the air freight movement due to moving PPE and vaccines and food. However, due to the lack of the usual capacity of passenger flights, that put a lot of pressure on air freight. The impact driven into the supply chain, how to be able to match between production and vessels and the demand on the ongoing projects, which suffer a lot of force majeure and delays on their schedules. The ability to have a visibility across the board was really challenging, but I think today, I believe on very maybe meaningful statement, that survival is not for the fittest, but for the fastest in adaptation. Thanks to God, if you look into UAE, to Saudi Arabia, even to Kuwait, to Oman, to our Middle East region, and part of Africa as well, we are very conscious and very adaptive. The cases start when going down, the government provide full support to the economy at all sectors. As well, the vaccination program is going at all levels in many places in the region. In Abu Dhabi and UAE, we are in very advanced stage on adaptation and being able to dance with the problem rather than fighting it. And we finding our ways to adapt, working with Maqta Gateway, which is one of the clusters and the automation and digitalization efforts to build a blockchain programs and mining data and master data science allows us, all of us, in terms of ADNOC LNS, which is the biggest provider for ADNOC, or the ports, which is the major infrastructure, or and EBC like what all the EBCs do in the market. That kind of reinforcing each other in a blockchain helped us a lot, especially in UAE, to overcome those challenges and at least be more adapting to those challenges more than a lot of other economies.
Thank you very much, Mohammad. You remind me just this Darwinism theory that is not the strongest that survived, the one that's fastest to the change, right? So I think it's a little bit aligned what you were saying. Going back to you, Mr. Khalid, from the perspective of KIZAD, and talking about new opportunities that are appearing now into the table, what are the project and impact on new markets opening, like, for example, Israel?
UAE is well known to be I believe, the preferred logistic hub in this region, in this part of the world, and to connect the East and the West and vice versa. So opening any new markets, I believe, is actually expanding the consumer basket actually for our customers. Now, speaking, you highlight, let me give you examples of Israel since you mentioned them. So for Israel, I saw that there's some statistics show that the new agreement will open or facilitate the entry for Israeli company to more than 100 countries in the world. In KIZAD, in Abu Dhabi ports 2 months ago, we have signed a MOU with the manufacturing associations of Israel to develop the trade, investment, and technology. Now, the agreement aims to enhance the opportunity, especially in the field of the research, development, industrial corporations, and of course, knowledge transfers between our entity and their entity. So here, what we are trying to do is actually supporting, first of all, as our objective, supporting our main sectors, which is actually the pharma, agriculture sectors, by using the advance and as you know that Israel is actually leader when it comes to the technology. Today we have in discussions with different companies, private sectors, public sectors, and from Israel, in order actually for them to get the opportunities in being part of those projects that is being developed nowadays in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Khalid. Gentlemen, our time is almost over, but let me ask you last quick round of questions. So going back to you, Mr. Mohammad Jaber, efficiency. How can we bring more efficiency to our projects through technology? How can we be applied? Brief us a little bit about that, please.
Actually, we identified that there is 4 important technologies currently in the world that everybody working in the supply chain has to focus on them, which is blockchain, Internet of Things, robotic process automation, and data science. Those, like Abu Dhabi, one of the advanced countries through Maqta Gateway, and now Agility working with Marzooqi and IBM for blockchain initiative. That will help all over the market to reduce cost, increase efficiencies, and stop using the data to alert exceptions, but start using the data to prevent the exceptions. It's not about how you manage the present, but it's all about how to anticipate the future and manage the risk at the future. Shifting our operation from managing risk, managing emergencies into managing risk.
Thanks a lot, Mr. Mohammad. Well, it's true. Nowadays, efficiency is not only a word, it's an action that we should be taking every single day. Captain, very quick. Company like ADNOC, a reference worldwide, a leader to follow. Are we going through various waves of the pandemic? What are the main lessons learned, and how can we face the next waves on a more efficient manner?
I think we identified the challenges, and we understood exactly what the pandemic actually is really requires from us to face it properly. We should not exaggerate. We should not really go over the top, and we should not also be complacent. We should really approach it in a very practical manner, whereby we can protect the country's best interest and we sustain business in a safe manner. I think one of the best lessons learned out of the whole experience is that we need to find opportunities during these challenges. This is that time where we actually need to really partner with each other, where we actually want to grow our business, learn from each other, share our technology, and in order for us to get through this pandemic safely. So we are, in ADNOC working very aggressively towards, partnering in order to provide the best solution and best service to our customers. And this is, you will see more and more of this is in the future from ADNOC Logistics and Service in particular, because providing the solution, this will enable us not only to leverage on the technology, but also to provide the best efficiency and reduce cost for our customers.
Thanks, Captain. And to finalize our panel, Mr. Khalid, if you want to add something else that you consider appropriate just to wrap up before we're leaving, now is the moment.
No, actually, I think we had the great sessions. We have covered many parts. Now most of the subjects now is going through that pandemics, and I think in UAE, I would like to speak about UAE that we have actually shown kind of like a model for the world how to face such pandemics and how actually to create those challenges to business opportunities. And we have seen actually growing the news, many things that being talking every day here in UAE, and we are very happy actually to be part of such a developed country.
Thanks, Mr. Khalid. Well, dear panelists, thank you very much for your time. I think that we have been able to cover important topics as market situation, trends, challenges, outlook for the future, digitalization, innovation, and efficiencies. It has been an honor and a pleasure to enjoy this panel together. And now is the time to open the panel to all those participants that are watching and would like to pick up your brain for the next 10 minutes. So it's the time for the question and answer. Thank you once again.
Thank you very much.